Hello everyone, today we will introduce tropical cyclone in Broome area for Yarura people. And these are our table of contents.
Today, I will be discussing how Australia responds to tropical cyclones and the flaws they often bring. Australia is a country with highly variable weather, and regions like Broome, located along the coast of Western Australia, frequently face the devastating impact of tropical cyclones. These cyclones can result in flooding, storm surges, and extensive damage to infrastructure. First, let's understand what a tropical cyclone is. A tropical cyclone is a rotating storm system flooded by ocean heat and usually accompanied by strong winds and heavy rain. When sea surface temperatures exceed 26.5 degrees, the likelihood of cyclone form greatly increases. In Australia, the tropical cyclone season typically runs from November through April. When cyclones approach the coast, they bring heavy rainfall, leading to a widespread flooding and causing serious damage to coastal communities. In recent years, with climate change, the intensity of tropical cyclones has increased, especially in terms of wind speeds and rainfall. This has exacerbated the flood risk and placed immense pressure on coastal infrastructure. For example, Broome has been severely impacted by cyclones multiple times. In 2004, Tropical Cyclone 5 brought strong winds and flooding, damaging local roads and infrastructure. Similarly, in 2019, Tropical Cyclone Veronica, while not directly hitting Broome, still caused significant flooding and economic losses through its outer storm system. The tropical cyclones that hit Broome have several major impacts on the area. First, they cause electrical damage, with lightning wreaking havoc on courtesies and power lines. The heavy rains that come with cyclones lead to flooding and drainage problems, which affect low-lying areas and roads, disrupting traffic and emergency service. Another significant issue is the disruption of communication, where the cyclone knocked out cell signals, internet, and television broadcasts, make it hard for residents to receive critical weather alerts. Cyclones also cause infrastructure damage, where homes, roads, and bridges are severely affected by strong winds and heavy rain. This leads to economic losses, particularly in tourism, agriculture, and fishing, as floods destroy crops and damage tourist attraction. Finally, food and supplies shortage occur as damaged roads and disrupted logistics make it difficult for supermarkets to restock, impacting daily life for residents. Next, I want to focus on some practical tools used in disaster response. First is a self-inflating sandbag that automatically expands upon contact with water. It can be quickly developed during the floods to protect buildings and key infrastructure from water damage. Not only does it save labor, but it also greatly enhances emergency response speed, and it has been widely used in Australia. Another useful tool is the louver shutters. These shutters provide strong protection for multiple-story and coastal buildings, particularly during the cyclones. This effectively shield structures from strong winds and flying debris, reducing the risk of damage to buildings.
Design and disaster management are rarely overlapping disciplines, resulting in little critical analysis on the role of design and designers in the context of disaster. It acts as a guide and a call for action, informing policymakers, managers, and other stakeholders on the contribution design can make to this challenging area. A framework on design for disaster readiness and response directed at practical efforts and policymaking in what is an emerging inter- and transdisciplinary field. In an ideal situation, designers undertake a preparation phase by defining project requirements and constraints. as well as formulating project management plans together with clients, managers, and domain experts. Then they move to the problem thinking phase, identifying design problems, uncovering user needs through observing or talking with patients and healthcare providers, and defining design insights and goals. Next, they proceed to the problem-solving phase, where they start brainstorming or co-creation to develop design concept and conduct user testing on small-scale prototypes. Finally, designers collaborate with programmers and marketers in the implementation phase to develop and launch the designs on the market. Occasionally, designers may also maintain or iterate the product post-release. This process is nonlinear, in line with many design process modes, like the Double Diamond Innovation Framework, human-centered design, and the design thinking process that emphasize the iterative process across phases. For site analysis, Broome has a hot semi-arid climate like most parts of the Australian tropics. It has 2 seasons, a dry season and a wet season. The dry season is from April to November with nearly every day clear and maximum temperatures around 30 degrees. The wet season extends from December to March with maximum temperatures of around 35 degrees. According to the indigenous Yavru calendar, there are 6 seasons. During dry season, abundant water in the sea encourages rapid growth in the natural landscape. The cooler winds come off the desert and dew forms at night. The mist forms over the ocean and the area becomes dry and thirsty. During the wet season, the conditions of warm, moist air and low pressure in Broome can evolve into tropical cyclone, along with the unpredictable nature of summer sandstorms, play a large part in the erratic nature of the rainfall. Broome's annual rainfall average is 650.1 mm, 75% of which falls from January to March. At this time of the year, the sea is often rough, and debris is washed ashore. The climate conditions of Broome vary a lot across the year. The tropical cyclone only occurs in the certain season. It gives indigenous people enough time to prepare for tropical cyclones. Broome has features of the coastal terrain, rocky in some areas and flat in others. Broome is situated near the warm waters of the Indian Ocean, specifically of the northwest coast of Australia. Tropical cyclones typically form over warm ocean waters. The interaction between the monsoon winds and the warm ocean waters enhance the conditions that lead to cyclone formation. Apart from the warm waters, wet season would cause a decreased air pressure. This low pressure area allows for the surrounding higher pressure air to flow into it, which helps to sustain and strengthen the cyclone. The local Yavru people would seek shelter from the monsoonal weather inside their huts, generally built during Lajja. Ropes were crafted out of pandan wattle to help secure these huts during intense storms and cyclones. Developments such as the sealing of the Great Northern Highway between Broome and Port Hedland in 1982 prepared the way for growing residential population and the tourism industry. Broome becomes more accessible. The rapidly expanding population of Broome is accompanied by an expansion of impervious surfaces, which generate additional amounts of stormwater runoff and significantly increase the peak discharge velocities, especially during extreme rainfall events. Detention and retention in correctly sized structures reduces overland flow, erosion, and the subsequent sedimentation of streams and water courses, which are recognized as contributing to the degradation of waterways and water quality. There is an abundance of fish and seafood delicacies. The tide influences opportunities for coastal recreation. High tide may bring cooling westerly winds, But very high tides may also bring the discomfort of insects, such as sandflies. Local knowledge of the tides, creeks, and coastline create many opportunities for fishing. Low tide brings the exposure of the reefs and the opportunity to gather seafood. Beach activities are planned according to the tide. Endangered seasons are recognized according to the variations in wind and rainfall patterns, and the abundance of plant and animal food from the land. The appearance of barn swallows, ducks, snakes, and an abundance of flies signifies the transition from Laja into Mangala. Yams are plentiful. Cocky apples, rape, and flying foxes can be seen soaring through the evening sky, from the mangroves to the fruit trees in search of their next meal. It's also important to avoid walking through thick grass, as there are a large number of snakes in the area this time of year.
Thank you, Ethan. I have introduced the inhabitants of Yaruru. About Yaruru, since Bugarigara, the Yaruru people have occupied and administrated the land and sea of Broome and its surrounding areas. In 2006, the federal court ruled that the Yaruru people were indigenous title holders of about 530,000 hectares of traditional Yaruru country. Regarding Yaruru's population size and the distribution, a small population of Yaruru is found around the town of Broome in Western Australia, mostly in open source marshland, including from the eastern shore of Roebuck Bay south of Roebuck Plain to the southern end of Triangle Station, less than 5 miles from Cape Verde, with their inland area extending close to Dampier towns. According to the last list of official data, the Yaruru indigenous people in Broome make up about 28.6% of the population. The distribution of male and female races is basically balanced, showing no significant gender differences, and in terms of social and economic participation, the male and female races is relatively stable. The Yaruru culture has deep roots in Bugarigara, which represents the time of creation, and they believe that the forces of the time shaped the landscape and gave humans language, law, and cultural practices. The Yaruru culture relies strongly on spiritual connection to the land, which is reflected in three core concepts: healthy land, good spirit, and healthy community. Yarura is the West Nunnerland language belonging to the South Kimberley branch, spoken on the coast south of Broome in Western Australia, and has similarity with the language of surrounding tribes. Grammatically, it is similar to another Nunnerland language. By the late 1990s, the number of fluent speakers of Yarura had fallen to minority, but a small number of young people have dedicated themselves to learning the language, and there are new courses dedicated to the language in school and auto classes in Broome. Although the colonization process once endangered the language, Yarura is recovering in recent years through language revitalization projects within the Yarura community and active promotion of education and popularization of this language. The traditional arts and crafts of the Yaruru people embody their deep connection and cultural expression to their natural environment. The main art forms include textile and woven handicrafts, carved arts, tribal traditional dance, Nuru. Nuru is the traditional dance of the Yaruru people and is an important part of their culture and beliefs. Nuru is usually performed at Yaruru religious ceremonies, celebration, and important social events. According to official data, secular and other spiritual beliefs of the Yarura people in Broome are the largest religious group reports overall. The traditional religious beliefs of the Yarura people are derived from their creation myths Bagarigara, and this belief system is at the core of Yarura culture and spiritual life. but Garigara represents a scarce time before time and is the source of nature, social order, and cultural norms. The Yarua believed that the creation forces of the pre-world gave meaning to the land, sea, law, language, and cultural customs. The Yarua's social structure is based on the traditional skin section system and kinship network, which helps them maintain complex family relationships and marriage institutions. The Yarua tribes divide these people into 4 skin groups. Skin grouping connects everyone to everyone else. Your skin determines who you can marry, your role in ceremonies, your responsibility at funerals, and your behavior toward another people. The Yarua's basic diet consists of the seafood, fish, turtle, stingrays, jugos, crabs, and mangrove shells, but also sting lizards, flying foxes, and bush food that forage in the semi-arid Pindan bush country. Tropical cyclones are a common weather phenomenon in the natural cycle for the Yarua people, and they present both challenge and some potential benefits. Our emergency response design projects will take the following aspects into considerations. The first one is we need to respect for religious belief and consider the ecological environment and cooperation with the company and beware of geographic restrictions. And this is our references. Thank you for your watching.